Guys,
Welcome.
it's 5 o'clock. After hours real estate right here where Austin, Texas, USA. This is kind of the center of the universe right now, right? Um,
Somewhat.
yeah.
Somewhat.
What?
Said somewhat. Yes,
Somewhat,
somewhat.
yeah. Guys, we talk about Austin real estate and we talk about mortgages and we talk about inflation and all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm Chris Pesek. I'm a real estate broker associate at Pesek Properties. That guy is Stephen Babcock. He's a mortgage loan originator extraordinaire. We're based out of Austin, Texas, and we were talking before. Steven's like, "Dude, go live with the show so we can have this reaction to this damn eclipse."
He goes, man, did you see the eclipse? It was awesome. I'm like, oh, we should go live. Just go live. Just mention it. Yeah, let's go live.
I mean, because I've seen annular eclipses, right? You've seen partial eclipses, and they're
I've
cool.
never in my lifetime, 41 years old, I've never seen a full, total solar eclipse until today. It only lasted like 2 minutes for us. I don't know about you. It was
It
like
was a little
2 minutes of
over
a full
three
eclipse.
for us. It was a little over three, and man, that was one of the most surreal. Um, I like for me, it was damn near borderline spiritual. Like
I didn't go that far.
it was a crazy because when it happened, like all the birds stopped singing, everything was quiet, and it got so damn dark. Um, God, did you see Venus?
Uh, what? No.
Dude, we're sitting here and I'm like, what the hell? There's a star. And I got to thinking about it. I don't know that it was a star. I think it was Venus. Like it
Interesting.
cleared up enough during the full eclipse that we could see either a star or Venus.
So no, I couldn't believe how much it cleared up. But when you took the glasses off, I mean, we obviously took the glasses off when you had the full solar
Yeah.
eclipse, which again was weird. It was like, can I take these off? I can't really see it with it anymore. You
Yep.
take it off, and you're like, that is gorgeous. Am I supposed to be looking at this? I'm not looking away.
No, I
I
think
know what
during
was.
the totality, I think you're cool to do that because I did.
Yeah, well, if I'm not, I'm in trouble. Yeah, but it was really cool. Were like the little solar flares that you got to see off the sun. Like
I,
little tiny things that came off the side of it.
yeah, that didn't even register to me till after when like people were talking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I didn't pay attention to it, but it was there.
It was really cool.
Yeah,
It was
man.
very, very cool.
Well,
What I didn't see was a lot of traffic. Now we didn't really leave the house, but I didn't really see a lot
yeah,
of people that I thought I would see.
I somebody said in the neighborhood, like going back out to 290, that it was about a 30-minute backup trying to get onto 290. But that's not
Okay.
anywhere near what they said it was going to be. But I think what we were talking about is, I bet because of all the, for 3 days now, they've been talking about all the clouds, right? I
No,
bet
I'm
a
so
lot of
sorry,
people.
everybody. The clouds are gonna suck. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it like you could see it, and when it was done, about halfway uncover, and then it clouded up, and I'm like, I don't even care because I just saw something that was freaking amazing.
I
Uh,
was thinking the whole time, like, can you imagine being some pagan worshiping, community where you have no idea what's coming, and then you see this happen? It's like, excuse me, what's happening right now? Are we about to die? Like, it'd be
but
scary.
think about it, like in historic times, like cavemen, right?
It's what I
It
mean.
happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, like wait, yeah, man, that's weird.
that'd be terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we know what it is, right?
The dog went a little nuts. She didn't really know what to do. She started barking and running around, and she just, I don't know, it was strange.
Yeah,
It's
ours
fun though.
was just still hunting lizards.
So what are you drinking?
Man, it's been a long weekend for me. I'm drinking water.
You're smarter than me. I'm actually sick, and I cracked open a beer for the show.
Boy, boy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I mentioned, my parents are in town to watch the Heine. Yeah, my parents are in town to watch the eclipse, and went pretty hard this weekend.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah,
Good for you.
um,
But you're not getting any younger, so you're hurting right now, aren't you?
it's not an ideal day, my friend. It's not an ideal day.
That is too bad. I feel so badly for you and your self-infliction. So how's real estate going? You got any numbers to show us?
I do have numbers to show. Dude, would you like to see numbers?
Not
I
really,
actually
but
just
I'm sure
pulled.
other people might.
Yeah, they might. I just pulled Austin data, which is interesting. Um, Not necessarily interesting, but it's not boring, at least not a lot. Um, so here's the interesting thing about the Austin data, and I've mentioned this before. Look at the difference between just total active listings and move-in ready homes. Dude, there's only a little over 300 houses that are new construction in the city of Austin. That's kind of crazy to me. All the new construction is outside in the suburbs. Um, I don't know. That's interesting. But overall, not going to dwell on it, spend a lot of time on it. It looks like a normal housing market.
It does. It just looks like a normal housing market. We have too many lenders, too many realtors in a normal housing market.
Yeah.
So things have, they're not so heated anymore. I
No.
did, however, just read today that Samsung is looking to double their investment here in Texas. Literally double what they were going to invest. Yeah, what was it, like 80 billion now, I think, and they were going to do 40 billion, something like that.
Damn.
Yeah, and that's all going to come to Austin. So regardless of what the
Yeah.
economy looks like, that's really what you look for. Where are the jobs? Um, I'm not sure though, man. This economy keeps, I wouldn't say surprising us. What you and I discussed like 3 years ago on the show was finally coming to fruition. Um,
Yeah.
but how I've mentioned how our government has borrowed all this new money and needs to refinance it within the next year or so. Um, Conditions are not such where you lower interest rates. Conditions right now are such that you raise interest rates.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so we're going to be forced by the end of the year to lower them at a time you shouldn't, which will cause inflation to go through the roof.
Hmm.
Um, or you're forced to keep them low at a time when the government needs to refinance, which means you've got to print a bunch more money now. Either way, it looks like inflation is in our future. And I heard something from a very famous investor, maybe not that famous, but her name's Cody Sanchez. And I don't mean to get down on her or anything, but I heard her say something on a video recently about how we all know that inflation is supposed to be coming down, but it's not coming down. If you go to the grocery store, you can see that it's not coming down, right?
Right.
And the premise is wrong. She's not understanding inflation.
Yeah.
Um, when inflation hits, the prices go up and they do not come down.
No.
If they come down, that's called deflation, which is a problem in all by itself. Okay. It sounds good, but it's actually quite bad when that happens. So when inflation happens, the price goes up. It does not come down. When
No.
we talk about how inflation is coming down, that means the price at which, the rate at which prices are accelerating, are going up, has slowed.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're going to become cheaper. It means they're just not going to become even more expensive as fast as they have been.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I just minor distinction, but kind of a major distinction. Just wanted to make sure that's really clear. Um, it sucks that we're in an election year right now because whoever's running has to have the political will to tank the economy, and of course they don't. So they do short-term fixes, which makes things worse in the long run. So I'm actually kind of concerned right now where we are in the economy. But
Well, but I said it last week, right? That I mean, I, I can, I can't guarantee you what's going to happen, but I got a pretty damn good idea that there's nothing else. Not a political statement. We'll say that every time, but somebody's going to take it as a political statement. The current administration doesn't have a whole hell of a lot to sell in this election. So what are they going to do? They're going to force interest rates down. And you said our economy right now is an economy that should be seeing higher interest rates. They're going to force it down. And you mentioned last week that it's not going to show itself for 6 to 8 months after. And so we're going to see accelerated home sales towards the end of the year. We're going to see lower. This is my prediction. We're going to see lower interest rates, and that's going to end up hamstringing the economy even more next year. And we're going to see the exact same thing we saw towards the end of last year with with bank issues
well,
and all of that stuff. It's going to come right back into the headlines probably February, March, April of next year. It's
right
coming
when
back
the election's over, it's so
right
weird,
when the
right?
election.
And yeah, it's so
Yeah.
weird.
Yep.
Yeah, it's disconcerting to say the least. Yeah,
Yeah.
I no matter what, the rich are going to get richer in this situation. Now, when it does crash down, and
Yeah.
I'm now convinced that it will. If you have money on the sidelines and little to no debt, it could be the best time of your life to buy something like a multi-unit family complex,
Absolutely.
right? Um,
Absolutely.
and the quote isn't just buy when there's blood in the streets. It's buy when there's blood in the streets, including your own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it hurts only for them and not you, whoever they are. Right.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt for everybody,
Everybody's
but
gonna get
that's
it.
when you buy.
I mean, yeah, we know the super rich, whatever. But yeah, everybody
But
else.
honestly, one of the best stories I love are the not super rich that get super rich.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Like the
absolutely.
guy from India who came over here with absolutely nothing, became a taxi driver, learned by listening in the taxi and asking questions to other big investors on what they did, waited for a crash, got bank financing, bought $1 million property, big building in New York, waited a few more years, sold it for a huge profit, waited for another crash, bought another 2 buildings. Now he's like one of the richest people in New York City, from literally nothing, like $100 in his. I mean, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. I love stories like that. Or the first female millionaire in the United States. No one gets it right. Nobody knows who it is. Is it Oprah? No, it's not Oprah. That she was actually born a slave. That's one of my favorite stories of all time. I'd probably talk to you about it, but it's just one of my. I'm glad. I hope that you do know it without me telling you. But it's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard of.
Give us a condensed version. Come on.
What was that?
Give us a condensed version of it.
The woman is born a slave at 6, I think it was. Slavery, at a young age, slavery is abolished, but she's not even told about it, right? Her masters just keep her working. And then she starts getting sexually abused. At 19, she gets married just to avoid the abuse. At 20, she's pregnant. 21, her husband dies. So now she's and she started balding at the same time. So at 21, she was a balding, widowed, freed slave, single mother in the Deep South. With 0 programs to help her out, right? And so she moves in with a relative up north, starts cleaning clothes, realizes that she actually has some skill at chemistry, finds out some sulfur mix to fix the balding issues with her head. Turns out that shampoos today include sulfur, right? And maybe not thanks to her, but in general, right? That's what she discovered, a shampoo, basically. And so she started fixing her baldness. And turns out nobody wanted to sell anything to black people back then, right? At least, anyway, I hate to say it that way, but it was a very bad time, right? I mean, slavery had just been abolished, and okay, so she was like, fine, I'll do it. So she starts selling this product that she's made door to door. Then she starts hiring and training other black women, and her name was Madam C.J. Walker. So she called her Walker's Women, is what she called them. She gave them like etiquette classes, sales classes, sent them out, told them to go sell that stuff. When she died, she was the very first female millionaire in the United States. And she had just 0 assistance from anyone, did it all herself. As you read that story and are not filled with just, man, I could do anything kind of thing. I can't remember the word right now, but it's hard not to get excited reading a story like that. And it's not taught, and it just drives me nuts. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Makes my head itch.
I've never heard that, man.
There's so many stories like that used to be taught that aren't anymore, and I don't know why they're not taught anymore. But it's easy to get inspired when you have the right role models,
Yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, I don't know. We don't have to go down that road necessarily. But that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's honestly, and no one knows the answer. If you ask them who the first female millionaire is, I swear to God, almost everyone I've asked says, "Is it Oprah?" And it's like, well, she might be the first female billionaire. That's certainly correct. I don't know the answer to that, but no, it wasn't her. So very fun. It's a fun story. It really is.
That's cool.
So rates have been getting worse.
Yeah,
rates look like they're going to continue getting worse. We may have a few moments of reprieve here and there, which we have had. But if you look overall at rates, for a while there, it looked like they might be getting better. But I'll tell you, this week will be a big week. Tomorrow, we get the CPI. We get the inflation numbers tomorrow.
Yeah. So you got any thoughts? Any guesses on what that looks like?
I know what it's. Well, no, I don't. No, I don't. I want to say I know what it's going to do based on how much money they spent in the economy. You can't raise the amount of dollars available by 40% within 12 months and then call it not inflating the amount of currency. Inflating is just increasing the number of, right? So if you have so many dollars out there and you print off a bunch more, you are increasing the number of dollars. Well, then they decided they were going to change the definition of inflation, but that doesn't matter because economics are still economics. 1 + 1 = 2. Right. And you give me $2, I still have $2. OK, you can get all semantic like with me. But when it comes to, literally building blocks, I have 2 building blocks. OK, great. I got them now. Right. It's just very, very simple. And when they add that much money to the economy, and keep rates low at the same time, it's horrid. And then you start abusing your power of sanctions on a gigantic country like Russia and withhold their money, and not only withhold their money, but now start threatening to use it against them in the war effort. It makes all these other countries say, well, I'm not going to give the Americans that kind of power over me. Let's start trading in something other than dollars, which is exactly what's happening with the BRICS currencies. So they're now a major threat to us, major threat. In fact, they are now loading up on gold as their standard. People thought it was going to be a mix of all the countries' currencies. They're going to. It looks like what they're going to do is each country is going to have a reserve in gold that can be verified, and then use their currency based on that reserve of gold as a whole, as all of them together, which would be impenetrable. I don't know how you get through that. Unless you pit those countries against each other. I think that it would have to be a major espionage deal or something. But I don't know how else you get through this without a war brewing. I just don't see around it. A way around it. It's terrifying.
Let me ask you about this. And
Yeah.
everybody talks about just a weird kind of thought that I had over the weekend, and I think it was because I read something. Everybody talks about, okay, we went away from the gold standard, and BRICS nations are going back to it, or trying to, or at least some combination of gold and oil or whatever. And you had mentioned basing it in oil, but what I don't know that I've ever heard anybody talk about is, what about other precious metals? What about, because think about where we're going just in terms of technology and the different, like, gold is used in that. But there's a lot of other precious metals that are way more valuable than gold because they're harder to find and harder to produce.
We don't know how to create gold as of today. We do know how to create diamonds and other commodities out there, right? We can transfer, like I was just watching a thing on Oppenheimer. You can transfer uranium 235 to 237, right? You can actually refine it. But other things, same is true with other metals. Gold is unique.
Yeah, you can combine and yes, exactly. You can.
Yeah, and so gold is unique on its own. The other thing about gold is only so much of it. If you took all of the gold in the world right now and put it on shipping containers, do you know how many it would take to fill up?
No idea.
It would fill up 2.
What?
If you took all of the, look it up. If you don't trust me on this one, but I swear to God, look it up. If you took all of the gold in the world, every ring on people's fingers, everything you've got out there, and you melt it down into big blocks and put it on shipping containers, it would fill up 2 shipping containers. There is not a lot of gold in the world at all. Okay. It is not the most valuable resource out there, but it's one that is valuable enough to where we can hold it and it can mean something, and we all get a little piece of it. But it's also valuable enough to where not everybody gets a little piece of it, right? So it's. I know I just kind of contradicted myself, but there's enough and there's not enough, right? It's just rare enough.
But I go even beyond that. Like, what I'm thinking about is something like lithium, because again, can't be manufactured.
Right.
Used in the manufacturing of just about
so then you've got
battery at this point.
But then you have long-term issues. So I don't know much about lithium, but I do think that when it's exposed to oxygen, it starts to oxygenate, right?
Yes.
Gold does not do that. You can, right? Gold doesn't break down at all under any circumstances, from what I understand.
Less, yeah.
Yeah. There was one mixture of, I think it was tin and bronze or something like that, but it's called orichalcum. And that was created by the ancient Atlanteans, and nobody really knows where it is, but we found some of it in sunken ships that was traded a long time ago, and that held its gleam or shimmer, I guess. That held that a long time, which is why people liked it. It was a little red color, like a golden red color. But there's not many that hold their shine, right? Silver does, but when silver is oxygenated, it changes colors as well. Over time. So gold is just one of those metals where it's always shining. It always looks good. It's very valuable to us. There are reasons behind it. But, and then the other thing that's happening right now is the price of gold is going up.
Yeah.
But all the indicators say it shouldn't be. So either we're not being told something with the numbers, or if you look at it from an economic standpoint, gold should fall soon. The price of gold should fall very soon, or we're being lied to.
But the other part of it, I mean, we're lied to all the time, right?
No, I think we're being lied to. Yeah, I think smarter people out there know what's happening.
But the other question that I've got on that is gold, from what I read, has been artificially suppressed majorly over the last, I don't know, 40 or 50 years.
Yeah.
So if it's still increasing in value, even though on paper it shouldn't be, I mean, is that playing a role, that just the fact that it has been suppressed so it's able to
So
continue to grow when it's not supposed to?
this actually leads into the whole Bitcoin thing that I've got here.
Okay.
Um, is gold valuable?
Yeah. Well,
Is
not
Bitcoin
really.
valuable? Could I
Not
take it and
really.
get money for it, Chris?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. I see where you're saying. Yeah, it's
Okay,
valuable.
so
It
the
has
answer is
value.
yes on both, right? Okay, now nuclear war breaks out, and you want to take your gold and move to some other country
Yep.
that's not involved in the war.
Yep.
What do you think happens to the Bitcoin when nukes go off?
Well, I know what you're talking with EMPs and stuff. I get that. Yeah.
You know about the guy that lost his little flash drive to his mom threw out his flash drive in his room. She came in and threw it away. She thought it was trash. Okay. It
Yep.
had like 6,000 Bitcoins on it from like the first year that it was available. He mined them all like easily. And it's in the billions that it's worth. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's in the billions. And he's been trying to petition for like 14 years now or something like that to the city with multiple lawyers to try and get permission to go to the landfill where it is and dig it
Right.
up. Okay, well, if there was an EMP, it would wipe all the data on that drive. He would never have that again. So what I'm saying is that there is no weapon that will get rid of my gold. Just
Yeah,
panic. Okay.
that's fair.
Can you imagine having all your wealth in Bitcoin and you survive an EMP attack? You get to the next country, you're like, well, can you plug this in somewhere? Right? I'm sorry. And especially if that war does happen. What did Oppenheimer say? He's like, this war we fight. This will be the last war, and the next war what's the line? Like the third war gets us back to the Stone Age kind of thing. Um, I don't know, man. I anybody buying Bitcoin right now, besides a couple $1,000, that kind of thing, like a in terms of like a oh crap kind of investment. Instead,
Yeah,
I just anything over that, I think you're just throwing your money away. I think gold is really where the money's at. It's been
that's
artificially
good.
suppressed. You have banks across the world that are loading up on it. You've got the BRICS nations that are basing their currency on it. Owning gold right now, it's coming back into the forefront. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. It is. Well, man, like
Yes, sir.
we took a right turn on this one.
Yeah, we did. We did. The other thing you should own right now is real estate. There
The other
you
thing
go.
you should own is real estate. You
Back
should
on
own
course.
real estate.
Right. Well, it's not a joke. It's not a
No,
joke.
absolutely not.
Right. I mean, you've seen what's happened to the price of real estate. There's this show. Oh, it
I'm
is. It
assuming
is.
our
Rusty's
friend
right on this
Rusty's.
one. There
Yep.
is this show that I've been watching about waterfront real estate, and there's a place that we love. It's upstate New York, right? It's the Adirondacks,
Yep.
and they had these beach houses in 2012 that were going for like 175,000, and it looks like my house in Lago,
Yeah.
but on water with a dock. And I mean, my house isn't huge; it's a 4-bedroom, but it's not tiny either. It's under 2,000 square or 3,000. It's like 2,200 square feet, right? But these homes looked just obnoxious, and so we looked them up today, and they're like 600,000, right? And
Wow.
one might say, well, the real estate's increased. I think inflation has simply increased. I think your dollars buy a hell of a lot less than they did 10, 12 years ago, and
Yeah.
that it's accelerating at an extreme pace, and you
And
just don't
that's a
see
lot
it.
of people. Yeah, a lot of people don't talk about that but you nailed it last week. You talked about it. That it. Yeah, it's inflation. It really is inflationary. Um, and I love when I'm talking with buyers. I learned a very. It's a question that is a stupid question, but it gets the most true response from people. Because look, as a buyer's agent, what did we always ask people? How many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms
Right.
do you want? How big of a
Sure.
house do you want? Right? You're not getting an answer. That's not. It's what people want or what they need. But the question that we got is, if you can wave a magic wand and buy anything you want wherever you want, what would that look like? Or if you could wave a magic wand in Austin and buy the home of your dreams in Austin, what would that look like? And it's a completely different train of thought, right? You go, your mind goes in a different area. Um, and some of the conversations that spawn out of that are way more valuable, especially for the buyers, right? And what you can actually get. But the conversation that I've been having with people is more about long term. What's a home that's going to hold its value and that's going to increase, and exactly what you're talking about, right? So right now, what's one of the you should know the answer to this. What is one of the most distressed assets in Central Texas right now?
One of the most distressed. Commercial real estate.
In the residential realm?
Oh,
What are
darn it.
what in
Millionaire,
residential?
the high end properties, the millionaire properties, right? Those are
Okay,
the dropping like rocks.
and where specifically?
Well, now that I don't know, I don't keep track of that. Maybe on the lake. I don't know, but in really, really rich areas.
Lake Travis.
Okay. Yeah.
Why
So
why
you
is Lake
said this
Travis
before. You're not
distressed right
wrong.
now?
You're right
It's
on this one.
yeah, it is, lost my train of thought.
It's
It
one of
is
the best investments you could get into right
yeah,
now that you
yeah,
can see because there's only so many spots on the lake, like you said.
that's
You
it.
said this, and I said it to my friend just the other day. I was repeating words that you said on this show,
Yep,
and it was all you. And you're not wrong. I have a friend who has a listing on the lake right now, who privately told me the $800,000 listing could easily go for 500 because the people are desperate to sell on the lake. You mean
on
a lake
the
that's
lake,
always going to be there right around Austin that will never go away and can't get any more houses on it because it's not getting any bigger? That
and
lake?
by the way, that lake right now, properties are distressed because there's no water in it.
This happened a few years back, right?
It did,
2013, 14-ish, something like that,
and
15.
guess what happened when the lake came back? All the values shot straight up.
Dude, I remember there's some videos online of the lake coming back because it came back overnight. I mean, it was like
Yeah,
24
it was
hours. It was
literally a week
unreal.
later, it went from, like, less than half full to 80% full.
Dude, just anybody watching, do yourself a favor and look up the videos on YouTube. There's one specifically of somebody standing outside who's just been told the water's coming, right? So he gets outside and you can see this tiny little stream where the lake used to be, right? And the water starts getting higher and higher. And all of a sudden in the video, a dock starts washing down, right? And then another dock, and then a boat, and then another dock with a boat. And you're like, oh my God, the water's going so fast. And then all of a sudden this guy's dock starts getting taken down. And then the next, I mean, it's like the water just raises so quickly it's one of those things. If you've never seen a flash flood but you've heard about them, you have
Right,
no idea how crazy dangerous it gets
right.
until you can see it. And that was our lake. I mean, and it filled up in, I think it mainly filled up in like 48 hours, and we had another rain, and it was like my God, man, there were communities underwater.
Brandon's a jackass. Thanks, Brandon.
I'm guessing it didn't
The
bounce back. I don't know anything
the
about this
dam
one.
that blew out. The dam that blew out on the Guadalupe River.
Yep, that'll do it. Ooh, speaking of which, did you hear about the New York? In the New York harbor, there was another boat headed towards a bridge, started having power flashings. It went out. They were smart enough to drop their anchor.
Yep,
Um,
that's happened. I've been sa I anyway, side note, guys, if you're looking for an asset right now, go find something lakefront and beat people up on price until you find one that has to sell. There you go.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
my brother retired from the Coast Guard. He was in the Coast Guard for 27 years or 24 years or something. And we got to talking about this, and he said this, like, ships losing power happens way more than anybody knows. Like,
Mm.
it's a common occurrence. And so as I've been seeing it, now that it's happened, people are posting about it on Twitter a lot more often. And when I see it, I clip it and I send it to him, and clip it and send it to him. And since that happened, since that bridge went down, I think I probably sent him 5 or 6 different ships that have lost
So
power.
everybody, all right, fine,
Yep,
good,
yep,
good to know. I can't stand when I overreact to stuff, so that's good. I have a friend in he was a Marine in college and went to West Point, and I don't know what he's doing today, but I know he's working for the government. And he basically explained to me that he's talked to some higher ups that told him that there's almost no way this was not a cyber attack,
yeah.
and that it's a strategic. Oops! Look, we didn't mean to, kind of thing. And he's the only one I've ever heard that from. So maybe it's wrong. Maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. But
Right.
it would be terrible.
Yep. And I'm gonna Brandon, I'm still thinking about Dunlap. They were taking McQueenie out. So and a lot of people don't know this about those lakes down there. It was really odd when those dams started blowing out. A lot of people are swearing that they were demoed. I don't know. Like, it's the conspiracy theory, right? But McQueenie is another one, and they were scheduled to go ahead, like, after Dunlap blew out, and I think it was what was the one in Gonzales? God, I can't remember. There's two of them that lost, that the dams, like, at least partially blew out. And McQueenie, the government was just going to take it out. Not the government, Guadalupe Valley Co-op. They were just going to take it out. And the people, Lakewood, thanks, Brendan, Lakewood, the people that all live on Lake McQueenie, exactly like you say, Lake McQueenie is a small lake, and I mean it's awesome if you've never been there. But they went in and they're all raising money. They're going to rebuild the dam. The government was going to take out, or Guadalupe Valley was going to take out. They're rebuilding the dam because if that dam's gone, and now all of a sudden instead of having lakefront, you've got the Guadalupe River, your values are nothing compared to what they were. So they're all rebuilding. But the craziest thing is they have to build it to Guadalupe Valley specs, which is fine, but they have to put a gate on there, a mechanical gate that the homeowners do not control. Guadalupe Valley still controls it. So if they want to drain the lake at any time, they can drain it. Pretty nuts. Yeah. Pretty nuts.
Nope.
I'd hate to see, man, could you imagine if the Lake Travis Dam blew out? Holy cow.
Yeah, but you wouldn't think there'd be much of a controversy over fixing it.
No, not at all. Well, but you know why the Highland Lakes were built, right? Those are
Give
not.
people water.
Nope,
right?
Absolutely not. 100% not.
Oh, I had no idea then.
They were built was flood control.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
They were never designed to be, I mean, they were designed to be reservoirs, right? And they're like, oh, we can hold the water too, but they weren't designed to sustain Austin and stuff like that. They were designed only for flood mitigation.
What I love are these new systems where they have a solar panel that it's like a 3-panel system where there's a solar panel on the right, solar panel on the left, and in the middle there's just like this little heat thing. And the whole idea is to heat up the box inside to create moisture and then create water droplets. Yeah. And then literally you're just farming moisture from the air and providing water. And they provide like up to 12 gallons of water a day. And there's got to be some way to do this on industrial scale so that you can then provide water to lakes. It'd be like, yeah, farmers too, right? Yeah.
Brandon, they weren't designed to hold back water for the rice farmers. When they dam it up, the rice farmers actually got really pissed off because it screwed up the flow of water and they couldn't take as much out. So now they had to write contracts and stuff to release a certain amount of water every month or every week or whatever it is, so that the rice farmers can actually still pull water out of it. The biggest thing that happened is if they take too much water, now they're finding out that if they withhold too much, then the rice farmers take too much out, and it slows down the flow of fresh water into the estuaries down at the coast, and it actually screws up the fisheries really bad because the water gets too salty, and the fish can't reproduce. So they've got to release a certain amount of water over what the rice farmers need in order to keep the estuaries brackish. Pretty cool. I know way too much about dumb stuff, man.
Honestly, I want my realtors to know dumb stuff like that. So that's good. That's good.
There you go. All right, let's wrap it up, man. We ended up going off on a tangent there, but guys, yeah, this week was a little bit about real estate and a lot about everything else. And evidently, we won't be buying lithium anytime soon to hold on to like gold.
If you had bought it like 10 years ago in terms of like stocks, you would have been the happiest stock investor around, right? But yeah. I don't know if you can even hold lithium. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about it.
I'm not sure. It's probably a commodity and you can trade futures or something, I'm sure. Anyway, but again,
what worries me about that is what are you really trading? You know what I mean? All good. All good.
Same thing. Bitcoin, like something that just exists in the.
Yeah, Fugazi, right? Fugazi. It's I don't even know if it's real or not.
Yeah, exactly. High water or fish population. For me, you know what? I've got rainwater collection. I don't care.
I don't like fish anyways. So
come on, man. All right, guys. We will be back next Monday like we always are. In the meantime, if there's anything that you need from mortgage, call that dude. And if you want to talk about overpriced properties on the lake, call me. I love it. Let's go take a look at them.
You mean underpriced properties on the lake?
Underpriced. Yeah. Well, yeah, that we can beat down on the price is what I'm saying. All right, guys. See y'all next week.
See you soon, brother.